just very briefly on the subject. We're running an inquiry at the moment, as you all know, on women offenders, and we've taken quite a lot of very interesting evidence on it. I have a missing number to my set, because I have transforming rehabilitation, transforming youth custody. What I'm looking for is transforming women offending. You very clearly said on the record that there are very different challenges to how we deal with adult males, how we deal with young people, and how we deal with women in prisons. And I know that was mentioned to you when you unveiled this the Transforming Rehabilitation document in the Commons. Reason I ask is that strategy is still in the to be delivered box, and I'm concerned, as evidence given to us expressed, that some of the community-based options as an alternative for custody for women offenders are coming to the end of their life, and they may fall between the cracks. What we don't want to happen is for the women offender strategy to come out, those services have disappeared, and then somebody says, I know, what would be a great idea if we reinvented those services. Better to save them before they fall. So Helen Grant, your Parliamentary Under Secretary, is coming to see us just before Easter recess. I would gently suggest that it would be helpful if that strategy was with us before she comes to see us.
Now, let me be absolutely frank, where we've got to on this, we can't do everything at once. Tempting though it may be to try. I'm well aware of this issue. I've started Helen on the task of, and a very consciously separated ministerial responsibility for men and for women in prisons. Started Helen looking at the kind of institutions you're talking about. What I didn't want to do was to produce a fairly banal, bland document that didn't add up to very much, just to be able to respond to the committee. I'm genuinely looking at and we are genuinely looking at the women's issue in the way we're looking at the youth issue. We are just in an earlier stage of doing so.
Okay. Any idea on timeline of that? And also, will it be in some way respectful of the Corston report recommendations, which, there was a lot to be said for Jean Corston's report, and does it recognise
we've been very
that?
mindful of that. I am quite inclined to invite proposals in the same way that we have done with the youth estate. I think there's quite an attractive possibility of, for example, secure hostels rather than bigger institutions. And I specifically asked Helen to go and look at the kind of institutions that are out there, to look at what reoffending rates are, to look at this with a bit of a blank sheet of paper. Now, I'm not saying that there isn't a role for women's prisons, but I'm in a sense trying to play devil's advocate and say what works, what doesn't work. Let's take a real hard look at whether there is a different model. And I just didn't want to rush into doing that. We have to do it sooner rather than later. We have to do it certainly, in the near few months rather than the far few months. But we're just not quite as far advanced on that work as we were with the youth justice approach, where we've been having a series of meetings with stakeholders, possible partners, in the last few weeks of last year. We're just a bit behind that. I have every intention of bringing to this committee some serious thoughts. But I just didn't want to kind of give you a document just to fob you off. So we've done something. I wanted to do it properly.
And equally, we don't want to come out with a report on women offenders the day after you publish a new strategy. And I think it would be very helpful for us to know whether you're going to make some early announcement on this subject, or whether it's likely to follow on opportunity to consider what we say on the subject.
I think probably the latter. I would not expect us to produce a major strategy document before the early summer. So if you wanted to come up with recommendations now that we could look at and say, actually, that's very helpful. Frankly, you've done a lot of work on this. We're at an earlier stage as a ministerial team. I would welcome your thoughts, frankly.
Well, we can discuss in more detail how we can fix the time.
Could I just make a plea to you that there is some consideration given to the transition between now, us producing that report, and you producing your strategy, so that what is happening, some of which we've had good evidence is working, isn't lost.
Okay, I will certainly do that.
And we can provide you with some information.
Please do. Please do.
Lord Chancellor, thank you very much indeed for your help this morning.
You're very welcome.
Order.
Thank you.